Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Morningstar by Pierce Brown. So as usual, we're going to talk non-spoilery thoughts and opinions up front and then move over to the spoiler section where we can talk in more detail. So with that being said, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's begin. So, ironically, right after I just created my schedule, I have to immediately shuffle the schedule because today I was supposed to talk about Steelheart, but I finished Morningstar and I liked it so much I just basically had to talk about it first. So, that's what we're doing today on this Monday. We're going to talk about Morningstar. So let's get started. So Morningstar is the end of the Red Rising trilogy. I know there are two more books, but I've already relegated those to be epilogue stories because the story built up in these three books kind of ends in this story. It feels like a completion. So I really don't know what the other two books are about, but I imagine they have to be epilogues. So Morningstar is a lot longer than Golden Sun or Red Rising, and it picks up immediately after Golden Sun, after Darrow's spoiler for Golden Sun in the first two books in the series in general. So we pick right up after Darrow has been exposed and captured. He's now under the custody of the Jackal. And it basically picks up a year later after he's been dealing with all this stuff. And we basically got to pick back up and deal with that betrayal and kind of get back, get everything back together. Because he's been under horrendous torture under the Jackal for the past year to the point where the Sons of Ares thought he was dead. So it's a big deal, and it starts off just literally hit the ground running. Like there's no slow down, there's no let's catch you up kind of thing. This book feels like it was made to be read immediately following Golden Sun. And it's kind of brilliant because the entire story, the pacing just kind of picks up from the last book, so it's got a lot of momentum when it starts. And the majority of the book, I'd say probably four-fifths of the entire book is just battle. It's just the literal culmination battle of all this stuff dealing with the society. And there's just so many really cool fight scenes, and I love it so much. Pierce Brown does a great job with his description of action and battles and stuff. It's literally so impressive. It's masterful. Um, his characters, Pierce characters continue to be great. Like I mentioned, how much more developed they were in Golden Sun, but holy crap, they get even more development here. Like these are some of the most well-rounded, fully fleshed out characters I've ever experienced in literature, and you can tell that Pierce loves these characters because you can tell that he knows every little nuance about these characters. Like if you asked him just a random thing about Severo that has nothing to do with the books, he'll have an answer for you immediately. It's like you can feel that level of depth in these characters. It's so well done, and I love it so much. Which is one of the reasons I'm really happy that there are two more books because I really don't want to say goodbye to these characters yet. Amidst all the crazy epic battles that go on throughout the entire story, there's so many emotional points. So this book made me cry in three different situations. If three different, completely different events happened in the book, and I just broke down a little bit. Not full blubbering tears, but it was for real. Though. I was like, whoa, I haven't read a book that hit me this hard in a while. So it was a really good refreshment for it. It's hard to find a book that is just going to hit you that hard. So to find one randomly is it's awesome. It elevates my opinion of the story to a much higher level. Pierce continues to improve on his writing style here, using this first person POV. He even managed to fix the issue that I had with the last book, where any battle that Darrow wasn't directly involved in, he obviously knew nothing about. I can barely even describe the way in which he fixes that problem in this story, but he fixes it perfectly somehow. It's even though we're still completely following Darrow's POV, we have a full, well-rounded understanding of everything that's going on in a way that we didn't in the last story, and I just thought that was brilliant. And I'm so grateful for it because the battles that happen in this book, man, so good, so good. This is literally this plus Dune is going to be the reason why I binge watch The Expanse, because it's until we get an adaptation of this, I have to watch something that has to do with multiple planets and interplanetary issues and stuff. I just have to now. This story is emotional, well paced, and so well thought out. You can tell that Pierce basically wrote the entire story all the way through and just was tweaking it all the way through and just working on it and making it better and better. And his work really shines through in this story. story is so well done. It almost makes me apprehensive about the next two because this is so well done. It's such a perfect, clean, concise ending that's why I lean towards those other two have to be epilogues, because what else can you do with this story? Like it, because the way the twist, I mean, granted, the way he creates twists and stuff, so, but every twist kind of happens in the book. So it's like to have a twist either in between books or at the beginning of the next book is a little different. So I once again say they have to be epilogue stories. But we're going to start those probably next month or so. So make sure you subscribe to the channel to catch those. Continuing to talk about his writing style, though, one of the issues that I noticed that from Golden Sun happened again here, but to a bigger degree. Like the issue with hiding a twist when your main POV character knows about the twist and still managing to make it very satisfying for the reader. Like the same issue I had in Golden Sun. The twist was very satisfying. It was well done, and I didn't buy it. And like, I mean, I didn't predict it or anything like that. And it was just really well done, and I enjoyed it, and it turned the story on its head. But the situation where Darrow would have known what was going to happen with this twist, but still somehow never makes mention of it or never thinks about it, that happens to a greater degree in this story. And once again, I loved it while reading it and like was totally on board while it was happening. But as I look back, it kind of falls apart because everything that happens that basically gets the reader to believe the scenario that we have to twist from doesn't make sense based on what Darrow knows and what we now know that he knew at that time. So it's definitely a consequence of writing in this first person while trying to preserve really big twists and turns. That's literally the only explanation I can give for that entire scenario. While yes, it's kind of a complaint because just from somebody who wants to write perspective, like because I do want to write my own books and stuff. So just from that perspective, I'm very curious how you would solve something like this. Just to gain more knowledge on different ways of writing, because as skilled as he clearly is with his writing style and like as much as he's learned from continuing to write these books, I feel like that's something that would be very hard to solve, even for someone like Brandon Sanderson or someone just very high level literary knowledge and skill and stuff like that. Because it feels like I said, a pure consequence of using the first person. But all in all, that's a minor gripe. There is some other really good stuff that Pierce did in his writing style that I love. He just used random, Pierce is fairly young. He's around my age range, I think. So the references he used feel like meme culture. Like there's an unironic "Bye Felicia" in here. There's a basically a scene pulled directly from Good Will Hunting. The "It's not your fault, man" scene. Like he basically put that right in here, and it makes so much sense. It doesn't feel cheesy. It doesn't feel lame. It works. It completely works within context, and it's hilarious when you realize where it's being pulled from. And it just works. It just works so much. So I really enjoyed the story. I really like the writing style, as I have in the other two books. His continuation of his character development is brilliant. His prose have gotten even better, like just the idioms and things that they use. Like they're literally bleeding off on me. Like I find myself saying bloody damn and like gory hell at work in just random situations, and I get the funniest looks. But I love that kind of stuff when it just kind of bleeds off the page and just kind of gets adhered to you. Like even with Brandon Sanderson, like when I get really frustrated, I'll say storms or like something like that. Like I love when books just kind of adhere to your soul like that, and this one definitely did that for me. So I'm going to go ahead and end this non-spoilery section here. So let me know what was your guys' favorite part of the story if you've read it. Let me know in the comments down below. So let's jump over to the spoiler section. So spoiler warning for Morningstar by Pierce Brown. So in the spoiler section, just want to make sure I said that before we said it. So Ragnar's death kind of killed me. It hurt. I saw it coming because he was too badass and doing way too many things to just make it through. And this was one of those scenarios. So actually I wanted to talk about it in two different ways, right? So Ragnar's death really hit me. That was the first part in the book that I actually shed a tear. I actually was choked up about it because I really loved it. Like that, to me, Ragnar felt like the first low color, the first other color that I guess it was technically Orion, but it was the first one that that was in a slave position, more like the Reds, that he actually got to, basically break the chains. And it was like a huge deal. And then he wanted to go back and basically be the savior of his people and go and free everybody and like go and do all this stuff, and then he can't even get past the cannibals and shit and like all of that kind of stuff as soon as they crash land. It was like it's just, but like he did so much and he saved them, and like he knew, because you know obviously he knew about his planet and stuff, how terrible that place was or whatever. So like it just all of it was just so good. But I want to also talk about the fact that this is where Pierce's pattern kind of showed itself, right? I kind of noticed that if we learn about the plan beforehand, if Darrow is explaining the plan to someone or just talking about the plan with his team, and we learn about it before it's executed, that means that that plan is going to go wrong. That means something's going to happen where they got to completely readjust and that plan is going to go to shit. And then the plans that we don't know anything about that just kind of unfold in the moment and kind of present itself like as a twist, those are the plans that are going to work. So it became, because this book has a lot of missions and it's, you know, because almost the entire thing is just war battles and stuff. So every battle has different, like smaller battles and different strategies in it. And I kind of, because like he uses that pattern so clearly, I picked up on it. So there was multiple situations where we would learn the plan, to learn what was supposed to happen, what, you know, they wanted to happen. And then something will happen where they have to completely reassess, everything goes to crap and it just doesn't work. But then there'll be scenarios where, like at the very end, where we know nothing about the scenario and stuff just kind of starts happening, and we're like, "What the hell is going on? Like, what's all this?" And then it turns out, oh, the twist is everybody knew about it all along and stuff. So it's like, But so I guess that just kind of leads me into talking about that last big twist of the book. So this also ties into the issue I had with it. So this issue of the POV of being first person while trying to preserve a twist, that came into like the biggest visibility for me at the end, right? So after all this setup, after they capture Cassius, and after all this setup of showing Darrow still, you know, still desperately wanting to be Cassius's friend and really regretting all the stuff that happened that led them to where they are and stuff, which you totally understand. And like, yes, it's completely tragic because the society has basically made it near impossible for them to just be friends and stuff like that. So like, it's really tragic. And Cassius is hyper loyal to the society, and like he's just doing his duty and all this. So like you can feel him being completely adhered to his side. Like you can feel it. So when it gets to the point where Darrow's like, you know, wanting to be more merciful and want to stop being just a reaper and just a murderer that he's been for the last few books, he wants to let Cassius go before they go into this final battle. So he sets up this whole situation and like make it all secretive, and was going to let him out of prison and get him like a shuttle, and like he was just going to take off and go and all this stuff. But as soon as he lets him out, Cassius freaking attacks them. He kills Severo and like beat up Mustang and beat up Darrow and throws them into the crate that they were going to use to smuggle him out. And then he basically takes the shuttle that they were going to let him escape with and then go meet up with the Sovereign and all this stuff. So when that happened, it kind of blew my mind, because the entire time up to that, when they were basically talking about letting Cassius go, and it was showing that Darrow was feeling softer towards him and like just wanted to be friends and was getting really exhausted about the war and all this stuff. And like in my head, I'm like, no, like don't do that, because Roke was basically the same kind of person, except had a more like a nicer soul, had a more decent heart and stuff. And he turned out to be just a, you know, gold loyalist and just care more about his color than actual people and stuff like that. So I was like, no, don't do this. And then when it looked like it was okay, and then like when Cassius like goes to try to shake Severo's hand and like apologize about about Finchner, and like the whole thing, and then like he attacks him and stuff, and then shot him like 6 times in the chest. That got me. That was another point where I shed a tear, because oh my god, the idea, if y'all would have killed Severo, I would have been done. I literally had to put the book down, like, you know, the ebook or whatever, but like I had to walk away. Like I just stopped reading for a while, because when that betrayal happened, it pissed me off so thoroughly, because I saw the possibility of it. And I was thinking Darrow was such a complete and absolute idiot for even doing anything like that. I thought it was so dumb. And then the idea that this was his plan to let Cassius go, and then Cassius betrayed him and then killed Severo. Like, if Darrow did something so dumb that let the man who killed the first Ares kill the second Ares slash your best friend in the world. Like, the level of hatred I would have for Darrow for that level of stupidity is unimaginable. So when it comes out that all of this is a twist, all of this, like, none of this happened, like, Severo is fine and he's got, like, basically movie theater level special effects to make his gunshots and stuff look right, and Cassius was really on their side the whole time, and it was all a plan to double cross the plan of the Jackal, because at some point the Jackal figured out their plan or had a plan against it, and they somehow knew, which it never gives you any information as to how they would have figured that out beforehand, before they even enact this plan. So, like, some of the little thread through parts are missing, but, like, they're not really necessary to make it all play out properly. But if it weren't for the fact that this was a twist in that reveal, I would have left this book with such a bad taste in my mouth. I would have been so pissed. That would have completely ruined the entire thing for me. But that twist, and then the fact that, yeah, Severo is alive, and, like, everything just kind of worked out, and Cassius was decent, yeah, it made up for it. But one of the things that I thought was extra awesome was the fact that Darrow's hand got chopped off. The fact that they did that, like, kind of, because as you're going into the scenario, you're like, there has to be something. Like, there has to be another twist. He has to have had some kind of backup. There's something. He wouldn't just let himself get taken, get all three of them get fucked over so immediately and then taken to the Sovereign and then just lose all of this effort they did all this time. And then, like, so you're just thinking there has to be something, there has to be something, there has to be something. But when his hand gets chopped off, you're like, holy shit, maybe there isn't nothing. Like, what's going on? Like, so, and then, like, the moment, like, he's about to get killed, and then he howls, and then it feels like that howl was like his, his cry into the wind, as he's been talking about the whole time. I thought it was like a death thing, but he didn't actually die, and it was just like, it was just so good. Like, I could literally sit here rant and rave about this book all day. So I'm just going to try to end it here and just say this book is really good. It's definitely my favorite thing I've read recently. Like, it is so good. Like, I can't wait to jump into the next ones, but I know that they're not. I mean, I don't know. Pierce has been getting better and better and better with each book, so I can't say that they won't be as good. But the main storyline that I've been in love with is definitely concluded, because we even get like some time jump where now Mustang and Darrow have a little baby, and it's awesome. And they got a little baby, and it's cool, named Pax. And, like, Severo's married now, and, like, he's grown up, he's more mature, he's less psychotic, but he's also a weirdo, because, like, early in the book, another part that made me choke up. It's the weirdest part, though. It made me choke up, but it's so weird. Because the idea that Severo found Darrow's old eyes and had his eyes replaced with Darrow's eyes is both so comforting, such a loyalty play, and such a show of love, but it's so creepy. Like, it is so weird. It's so Severo, though. It's so perfect. That's some of the best characterization I've ever read, ever. So it's just awesome. And like I said, I could just gush and just ramble about this all day. So I'm going to try to end it here. So let me know, have you all read Morning Sun? What was your favorite part? Did you love it as much as I did? Also, that part kind of choked me up anyway. So let me know in the comments down below. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you all next time. Peace.